So AI is writing code and a lot of it. AI can also debug, it can complete whole functions for you nowadays. So the real question is, are we cooked? Well, apparently Mark Zuckerberg thinks so.
An AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code. And once you have that, then in the beginning it'll be really expensive to run, and then you can get it to be more efficient. And then over time we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers.
But honestly, I have a different outlook on it. Now, this doesn't mean that software engineering in this industry isn't changing, and it is. It's changing fast. If you don't adapt, AI will replace you. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So if you're new, my name is Zazo. I've been coding for about 10 years, and I've been in the tech industry for about 8 years. And I've done multiple positions in the industry, things from software engineering all the way to data analytics. So as a software engineer or anybody that works in tech, you know, you're kind of seeing this AI wave take place, and you're really just kind of uneasy about if AI will actually be replacing my role, right? So with things like GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, Cursor AI, all these different AI tools that are able to essentially spin up applications out of just, you know, natural language prompts, it can be very scary and a very scary time. So as we all know and as we all seen, AI is revolutionizing just tech in general and is able to do a lot of the coding groundwork for us. So what does this mean? Obviously it's changing fast, but what does this mean and how do we adapt? So software engineers do way more than just writing code, right? It's actually setting the business problem and using code as a tool to solve the business problem. Now, AI can definitely generate code, but what it can't really see is the business need for a particular business problem. So software engineers still have a place. It's just going to look very different because, you know, the AI is not going to be able to actually detect what the business problem is from just looking and trying to change it. Something still has to, aka software engineers, still have to actually prompt it and still need to be that bridge between the business client and the code or AI, the code generator, in order to make it a well-rounded product. The real value of a software engineer is not generating code, which is why if that's the only thing you can do is write code, then you will be replaced. However, software engineering is just problem solving and creating software to solve problems. So the AI can generate the code, but someone will still have to be between the business and, you know, the actual code and AI. So this is where the real power comes in. So answering this question of AI and will it replace software engineers? That's a tough one, but it's yes and no. What do I mean by that, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say we have a project that takes 120 hours. Normally, to get it done in a week, we would need 3 devs, right? So we would get 3 software engineers working on this project for a week to get it completed. So now with this advancement of AI and how it's going to look is 1 dev using AI and being 3 times more efficient. So where 1 dev can get it done in that same week, essentially replacing those 2 other devs. That's where I see AI replacing software engineers, but it's really just being more effective and being essentially more cost efficient for the company. So this is even more reason why you need to learn how to use AI effectively, because it will not be AI that's replacing you. It will be software engineers who can use AI that will replace you. So now we're gonna speak about what this means for your career. right? How do you adapt? What are some of the things that you really need to focus on in order to stay ahead of the game and not be replaced by these engineers with AI, right? So I'm gonna give you a couple key actionable things here that you can work on in order to kind of adapt and change with this ever evolving industry. So the first one is a given. Learn to work with AI. That means GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, AI, debugging assistance. So things like Cursor AI, which I previously had downloaded for me myself. I was kind of like at the beginning I don't like AI. I'm gonna keep doing things the way I've always done it. Not the right mindset. If you don't adapt, you'll get left behind. Like I said, this industry is always evolving and it's not going to look like it did 5 years ago, but we have to adapt and keep going forward. So that's the first thing. Learn to work with AI. The second thing is get better at understanding business problems. There's 3 stages to solving like a business problem. And a lot of people are good at the first one, but not good at the last 2, right? So the first one is identifying the problem. There's a bunch of people, and we all know them, that can point out 6 million problems, right? But the next 2, they cannot do whatsoever. The second one would be identify essentially a solution, right? Build a system, build a process, build an automation that solves this problem. Build it here, build the concept, architect the concept, right? And then 3 is actually execute. That third part is really gonna be where AI comes in and is going to actually supercharge things, right? So after you identify the problem, you kind of architect the solution, kind of lay out the blueprint. The third and the execution part is going to be even quicker than it would have been before because AI is making you more productive in building out that solution. So focus on architecture and system design, really architecting a solution in your mind because the AI and generating the code will become a lot more efficient and you can focus on that. So focus on understanding business problems in your area and in your specific industry. And the next thing is become the bridge between the client or business partner and the AI, right? So if you were a hiring manager and you are thinking about hiring somebody, you have somebody that can generate code with AI and you have somebody that understands the AI, what it's generating, but also understands business problems and how to solve business problems. I'm more likely going to pick this person, right? Because if you're only generating code with AI, that as far as a skill per se is very low level and it's not a very valuable skill at that point, because if you can just generate code, so can AI. That's what makes you replaceable. So become the bridge between understanding the AI and how it works and also the traditional development, and combine that with the other 2 that I mentioned, and you'll be hitting the road. Because it's the same thing as like companies still have, the automated, when you call, hello, would you like to pay your bill, all of this type of stuff. But I know you guys still know that at the end of the day, somebody still wants to talk to a person. Not everybody, but at the end of the day, somebody wants to talk to a person. And we're talking about something as easy as paying your bills and, reading off billing statements. This is way more complex. So when you're meeting with business partners, clients, most of the time, 99% of the time, they're probably gonna want to talk to a person and how to solve their problem because they know that it's going to be understood in a different way that AI cannot actually understand, right? So I don't think the question is, will AI replace software engineers? I think the question is, are you going to adapt, or are you going to let software engineers that use AI replace you because you're, 1, not being productive with it, or 2, you refuse to get with the times, all right? So if you like the video, go ahead and leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you on the next one.